So Dominic, the other day you were mentioning that I have structural rigidity. What do you mean by that?
Well, it's interesting how everything that shows up with the person's body gets played out in their life, their perception and their behavior. So there's muscle tension, right? Muscles move the structure. When the muscles are tight, that has meaning. That typically correlates to immune system and their emotional system, the muscle tension. Structural rigidity is different because I remember early in my practice, I had people come in from Orlando City Ballet, and when I would feel their body, their muscle tension was low, but yet their structure was really hard. If you feel the bones, instead of it being give, where you would push into the spine, it would flex. Instead, it was like concrete. And I'm like, wow, there's little to no muscle tension, but yet the structural stiffness or structural resistance to movement was really high. And then as talking with other practitioners in the industry, they said, oh yeah, structural rigidity corresponds to this, muscle tension. So it helped me dial it in even more. So what structural rigidity correlates to is, what does it actually? So structural rigidity actually correlates to constancy. The person has a high need for safety because they don't have it within themselves. So for example, when they sleep, they love those weighted blankets that a lot of people are getting. They put those things on like, oh, I just feel so comfortable with my weighted blanket. Like, yeah, because it's people that have high structural rigidity, it's as if they were born, but they're not fully in their body yet.
Right.
So they like the feeling of mass. They like the feeling of weight on top of them. And they feel more comfortable and they feel more safe with that.
Yeah.
So it's easy to tell who likes the weighted blanket, who likes that, because you feel their structure and their spine is really stiff. Corresponds to not feeling safe or high need for safety. They typically like constancy. They like the sameness. They have the same friends. They live in the same house. They go to the restaurant to eat the same food.
They're comfortable.
They're comfortable. They like watching the same movies, even though they've already seen them, because they know what to expect. Yeah. And I'm seeing the smile. So
that is me. Everything you're explaining is me. Like I don't hate it, but kind of like Corey, actually. We go to a restaurant, and if he doesn't really know the food, he's like, I'll have a Caesar salad. Because that's the most easiest, simple. He knows he's going to like it. And I'm exactly the same way. Like, if I have never tried it before, I don't want to try it because I feel like I'm not going to like it. So I stick to what I know.
Structural stiffness corresponds to the need for constancy and safety, and they like the same. Variety is a nice idea, but they'll go for a sure thing.
Yeah, and how would you break out of that with chiropractic care?
Well, chiropractic care is good at moving the structure, but network care, what we focus on is taking the tension that's deep into the structure and bringing it up to the surface. So if there was a hierarchy of availability, muscle tension is more at the surface, it's more available. So we could do the consciousness exercises, you could do yoga, there's different things you can do that tension is available to be dissipated. The structural rigidity is actually not as available. So first thing we need to do is work with the person to decrease the sympathetic tone or the neurological stress, get them more peaceful and open. And then with the consciousness exercises, helping them check back into their body, you'll actually feel that structural stiffness and rigidity ease up more and more and more. And at the same time, you'll see the muscle tension increase. So it's almost as if it's going from deep into the system up into the surface so that it's available to be dissipated. Through movement, through emotion and different things. Movement exercises, at that point it's available. Okay. So, and that's also why you'll hear someone, they'll say, oh, I tried to do yoga and I got hurt or I got injured. Well, it's because they have high structural stiffness, not so much of the muscular. And if you do movement without making that structural stiffness available, those are the people that easily get injured. They get injured in sports often, they get injured in endeavors, they have chronic knee issues, chronic shoulder issues. So you want to see that structural stiffness work its way up to the surface where it's available. And that's one of the gifts that network care brings to the table. And that's just on a physical realm. And the emotional realm, it plays out big time, because if they have structural rigidity, they have a high need for control, they have a high need for safety, they need to be in control, or they need to know that somebody has control. They like that constancy. Safety is important to them, and it's primary. Otherwise, they just don't feel safe. It's not a good thing for them. That's right. And when I do a consultation with someone and I see that they have a high structural rigidity, I make sure that I'm showing up for them and I'm totally present, 100% present with them. That way they feel safe. Because if they don't feel that someone's in control, then they have to be in control. Someone's got to be in control. as compared to someone who has structural flexibility and ease. They don't need the yes, the no's, the black, the white.
Yeah.
They're open to shades of gray.
They're just like, it is what it is.
It is what it is. It's somewhere in between. It's not either black or white, it's somewhere in between. Now, if someone has high structural tension, it's yes or no, it is or it isn't. And again, if that gets played out in the person's life, they're missing out on the aspects, because life's about shades of gray.
No, yeah, it must be very stressful. I would know because I'm similar to that. And it's very stressful not having any clue of what I want to do. Like in general, like I like when there's a set plan and I know exactly like I'm going to be happy at the end of this.
And you feel more safe, you feel more relaxed when you know what the end goal is. And there's borders, there's boundaries, there's expectations. You know what to expect, where you're going to go, how you're going to get there. Absolutely. So if someone with a flexible structural body and someone with a stiff body were going on a drive, the person with the flexible body would say, hey, let's get in the car and go somewhere. The person with the high structural rigidity say, okay, where are we going to go? How are we going to get there? Do you have food in the car? Do you have snacks in case it's a long drive? Do you have water? Or where are we going to stop along the way? You know, it's 10 o'clock. We want to get lunch somewhere. So everything has to be planned out. Everything has to be mapped out.
We have checklists and all
Yeah, that's right. The person that has a flexible spine, they're like, hey, let's just get in the car and let's see where we end up. Yeah. The structural rigid part is like, you're insane.
No, you're crazy. I'm staying home.
Give me 10 minutes. I'm going to go get my snacks, my power bars, I'm going to go get a smoothie. I'm going to bring a jug of water in case we get thirsty on the way. So it's a completely different. So the recipe for success or for happiness is different from one person to the other.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I can't.
Adventure for one is torment for the other. So how can you get your body, how can you get you to a place where you can roll with it better and you don't need your snacks, your water, know where you're going to go, how you're going to get there, that need for constancy, structure, and safety, which is really tough, right? Because if you have a lot of requirements to be happy, it's easy to be miserable, right? So how do you get your body so that you're more flexible, you're more open, you roll with it better? The consciousness exercises that Corey has on his member page are huge for that. Stages 1 through 7 specifically will bring that tension from deep in the system up into the surface. And then also receiving network care, that's really one of the gifts that it brings to the table, is developing that breath wave, that safety and peace in the body progressively so that you have less need for it outside. Remember, happiness is an inside job. Peace and safety is an inside job as well.
Yes, it is. In order to be at peace, you need to be completely at peace, physically and mentally.
Absolutely.